Hello everybody, welcome back to an episode of The Cutting Room Floor, the series where we take a look at features removed from your favourite games. I'm your host Mist Bandit, and today we're going to be taking a look at things removed from Mafia II, a game that came out in 2010 and had a pretty hectic development history. Starting off development in a completely different engine to then having to have a new engine built around the game's development. This led to many features getting cut before the release due to time constraints. And today we're going to have a quick look at some of these features. So without any more further ado, let's get into things removed from Mafia II. If I was to ask you for one difference between Mafia 1 and Mafia 2, I bet the last thing on your list would be Vito's lack of love interest compared to Tommy Angelo in the original game. But yes, throughout all of Mafia 2, poor old Vito was single. Now, this wasn't originally going to be the case, as at one stage during Mafia 2's development there was going to be a romantic interest for Vito called Monique. The player would be able to take her out on a date to the cinema. Whether this would be in a story mission or a side activity is unknown. Have you ever looked out of Vito's safe house and thought to yourself, this view is terrible, I want to move? Well, if so, then boy do I have news for you. As during the development of the game, the developers must have looked at games like GTA San Andreas, where this was an option, and thought it would be a good idea. Vito would have bought these safe houses from Richard Beck Realty. Now my guess is, as the story of the game developed, the more the mechanic didn't make sense, leading to its removal. As two of the properties that Vito could have bought is Joe's apartment and the Skeletor family home, which would really make no sense considering the game's story. Another feature they probably got from GTA San Andreas and removed was a respect feature. This feature would affect how the player was treated across Empire Bay. Now, if I had to take a guess on how the player would get respect, I'd say it's probably through completing story missions and other jobs around the map, which brings me swiftly on to the next feature removed from the game. From what I can tell, this feature was mostly cut thanks to Mafia 2's rush development, and probably close towards the release of the game, as Joe references Vito taking jobs for Derek in the Wild Ones, which makes no sense considering Vito helped Derek once up to that point, and doesn't help Derek again until the end of the game. Which is a shame, as doing jobs for Derek sounds like a much more fun way of getting the extra money to pay back Bruno towards the end of the game.
Talk about Bruno, no. We don't talk about Bruno.
Here is yet another thing that was cut for time. Originally, at the end of the game, the player would have had the choice between three endings. One ending was the one we got. The second ending was to involve the player killing Frank Vinci, which was reused in Jimmy's Vendetta, just with a different murder victim of course. And as for the third ending of the game, I haven't got the slightest clue, but I wouldn't be surprised if it involved killing Leo Galante. With all things considered, that'll be it for this episode of The Cutting Room Floor. I should hopefully be seeing you in the next episode of The Cutting Room Floor, when we will pay a visit to the sun-soaked streets of Vice City. Thanks for watching everyone, and I shall hopefully see you soon. Goodbye!